I just I woke up early this morning and I had this this early morning experience with the Atlantic, the magazine, or the online version of the Atlantic, and they were talking about the latest shooting and school shooting in the United States in Santa Fe in Texas, and I think all through the article they really highlighted the mental health issues surrounding a lot of school shooters and. It struck a chord with me because I recently wrote a blog post talking about mental illness and the way mental illness is kind of stigmatized and kind of given this overarching sort of blame for a lot of violent crime. Now, the U.S. is slightly different on a lot of fronts. They tend to have these violent crime things that happen um, way more than any other country in the world. So there's a lot of guns involved, and there's a lot of erroneous kind of circumstances involved as well. Um, so I just I don't want to go on too much about it. I want to make this a short video actually, but I just want to reiterate the complexity of issues like mental health. Um, and I saw this previously in an Atlantic article, but I also just researched it online as well. And yeah, the statistics hold. 3 to 5% of violent crime can be attributed to mental health issues in the United States, which is not a lot. And most psychologists or psychiatrists would agree that um, people with mental health issues are not more likely to be violent, and if anything, they're more likely to suffer abuse or violence. So that does happen, and that does add a new dimension to what's usually stigmatized when it comes to mental health issues. I think people have a wrong idea of what mental health is. Um, Look, I'm in the system, and you know what? I've even exploring my own issues. I've come to realize that it's far more complex than people make it out to be. And when I say people, I'm not saying anybody specifically, but I mean there's a general, I don't want to be too specific, but I mean there's this general idea about mental health and what it entails and what it actually is. Um, I do think that a lot of mental illness probably goes undiagnosed, to tell you the truth. And that was also a feature of the Atlantic article too, where they kind of mentioned that with treatment, symptoms and behaviors can be controlled, and people can live pretty normal lives actually if given the right help. Um, so yeah, I just want to reiterate that because I had made that blog post, and the blog post was mostly talking about terrorism and the way that gets kind of blown out of proportion when it comes to mental health issues as well. So the idea still being that there should be more gun control in the United States, um, whether mental health issues are involved or not. Um, and they've also mentioned that on the mental health issues side, there's no one paradigm or one set of circumstances that kind of pin down who's going to commit some school shooting, some heinous crime. So somewhere between mental health issues and gun control, I think there's something that we might be missing there. I think there's a I think nothing really exists in a vacuum, and I think there's something in the middle there between gun control and violent crime and mental health issues and however else you want to frame it. Something in the middle happens. Maybe there's a culture of violence in the United States that we're kind of overlooking. Whether or not there's access to guns, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that's. I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't want to go on too much about this. Okay, bye.